Hey up team, next long form video, here we go about food quality. I find this subject super interesting that we're still in denial about things like tap water, supermarkets, creams, all of this stuff. And it's really interesting from my level because obviously I deal with people in with IBS predominantly. I also work in the corporate sector, so I work with a lot of people who I do something called productivity within the workplace. That's where I go into companies and I talk to people about how their food makes a difference to their cognitive function, their hormones, and also just the way that they can enjoy their job. And I find it really interesting when companies do this, not so much now, but they used to. I worked with Google back in the day, and one of their treats for the people that stayed late at work was a Domino's pizza. Now, inevitably, I mean, we've all done it, gone out for a night out or whatever, had a few beers, and the next day you end up with a Domino's pizza. But if you're stressed out at work, you worked all day super, super hard, and then your company buys you a Domino's pizza, turns up, you wolf down 3, 4 slices of it, what are you going to do? Fall asleep. Why do you fall asleep? Predominantly because it's just a carbohydrate load that your body can't understand. The blood sugar response goes crazy. But there's also so many chemicals within that that then will make your joints sore. It won't help you sleep, and then you wake up in the morning being like, "Fuck, I feel already hungover," when actually all you've done is eating a pizza. And what I don't like about this argument is it's not the nutritionists or the health talkers against the rest of the world. It's these companies that are completely pulling the wool over everybody's eyes and profiting off of it. And I hate it. It does my head in because I utilize fermented vegetables, sourdough, and things like that. Now, especially Marks and Spencers, I think it's Marks and Spencers, Maple Waitrose within the UK, you have sourdough bread in there. Now, if you know anything about sourdough bread, you know it's really frustrating how quickly sourdough bread goes off, but it doesn't in the supermarket. Why is that? Because it's not fucking sourdough bread, and it hasn't been kneaded properly. It hasn't been utilized properly. They make it on a mass scale, which is fine, but they also charge a premium for it when it's not actually the product that they're saying that it is. But they put cultures in it. So is that fermented? Is that not fermented? Either way, you know it's not the proper product. So stop fucking buying it. And then I'll talk to clients with regards to kefir. Kefir is always an interesting one as well. So you can make kefir at home. It's super cheap. You can go on Amazon, buy a little starter kit, get some milk on the side, and then you put it in, and then it will create your own kefir. It's super cheap, super easy, but people still insist on buying it from Yo Valley or whoever it may be. And again, if you make your own kefir, or if you buy decent kefir and you put it in your fridge, it only lasts a few days. Whereas if you buy it from the supermarket, it's probably been on the shelf for about 2, 3 weeks before you get it, and God knows how long it's been held in their holding containers for. And then once it's been held in there for a couple of weeks, then you go to your kitchen and you can leave it in there for a couple of weeks as well. Anything with fermented active cultures in doesn't last that long. And we as a society need to ask ourselves what are we doing? Because the same with sulfates in wine. There's so many different things where you're taking on these things on a daily occurrence, which is then giving you brain fog. It's giving you IBS. It's giving you, struggle with your sleep. And in my practice, I just like to teach people about this stuff and really make you think. Because for every action, there is a reaction. Now, we can't all live like monks, and we've got to, every so often, it's my birthday at the weekend, I'm going to be going out with my wife, and I'm going to make sure that I have a lovely glass of wine, and we're probably going to go out to a restaurant or two, and that's fine. But daily practice, put a bit more effort in. Think about it. It's really interesting. You go down the supermarket aisles, and you'll see things like olive oil. Now, I live in Spain. Olive oil here is readily available and it is relatively cheap. In the UK, not so much. And it's interesting to see if you have a look on the back of a bottle where it's about €5, 5 to €10. You'll see on the back of the bottle it just says 50/50. What does that mean? Olive oil 50/50, 50/50 with rapeseed oil, or canola oil, as it's also known. Now that is crap. You're buying something that you've only got 50% of it, and the other 50% of it is highly inflammatory in your stomach, and just generally not very good for you. So that's the company. That's not the nutritionist saying don't eat that shit because it's not good for you. The same thing with plastic bottles. So there is a high amount of microplastics within plastic bottles, but sometimes you might have to pick up a plastic bottle. But at home, could you spend most of your time either utilising water filters, reverse osmosis machines, or bottled water in glass bottles? And you can get it from Wales, you can get it from lots of different areas within the UK, Harrogate, and it's not that expensive. It's cheaper than what you buy in the supermarket, but you buy it direct from the company. It just takes a bit of foreplanning. And then I always find it interesting as well with things like coffee. So a Nespresso machine is, I don't know, 200, 300 quid. I've got no idea, never had one. But the Nespresso pods are also just hyper-processed shit coffee. I don't care who you are, it is shit coffee. You put the little thing in the thing and you press the button, it goes boom, and it comes out this coffee. Now coffee, I love coffee, I think it's great, but I spend my time making it and I spend my time enjoying purchasing it and everything else. Now for some of you who go, I can't afford that, Matt, actually look at the price of Nespresso and then look at the price of what you could get from local coffee companies, or as simple as going online. There's companies called Pact and that do the subscriptions. Now I don't want to be on here just moaning. It's not my game, but it just breaks my soul when I speak to people time and time again with IBS, and I'm going to say 60% of the time, if I take out the processed foods and I take out tap water and I take out creams, so like Nivea and Vaseline and companies like that, where you're putting toxins into your skin, which is a microorganism, but then also you're being missold things, and then it's like this war against different influencers or different practitioners who just try and tell you that you're just being missold. So take a step back and have a look at that stuff. I really would recommend it. But another wonderful thing in the world that we've got is we've got enzymes. And I'll explain. Water in your mouth is super, super cool. And you preparing a coffee, an orange juice, a nice bottle of water, whatever that may be, squeezing a lemon in there, you get your mouth watering. Now, my mouth's watering just talking about it. But what is that? Now, that is enzymes being created in your mouth, and that is coming through down into your esophagus, and then down all the way through your GI tract. Now, that means that when you eat your food, it breaks down into your bloodstream even better. Now, so taking time to make food, taking time to digest food, not only are you going to enjoy it more, but also it's so much better utilized within your body. And you got to remember, even something as simple as electrolytes. Okay, so they're, magnesium, calcium, potassium, and sodium. Now, these things, they all work cohesively, so they work together. When you go to McDonald's, as I'm sure everybody knows now, they use sodium chloride with sugar, and then you have the texture of the chip itself, like it needs to be nice and crispy and things like that. And I just find this really interesting to go like these companies are taking the piss out of you. You saying, oh my God, no, but McDonald's is amazing, I need a McDonald's. That's because there's Nobel Prizes being given out to people with hyperpalatability. There's actually like directors of hyperpalatability that work with food companies. I know because I had a food company and I had somebody try to tell me that I needed it, but I was more interested in quality of food and believe that humans don't need to be manipulated. So, conclusion of this, there's a book, a wonderful fucking book, and if you've got to the end of this video, you will buy this book. It's called Ultra Processed People. I'm going to put it in the link in the description below. Please read that book, listen to that book. It is all to do with the law and it's all to do with food. And things like companies like Pringles and What's-Its and all these companies, they've been massively sued in lots of different places for misrepresentation, getting people ill and things like that. And then at the end of it, not at the end of it, I think it's chapter 2 or 3, sorry, is the war against Nestle. And now Nestle started the whole formula for babies. Now, I'm not going to tell you if you're a good parent or a bad parent. Read the book. And in the book, it talks to them about it was a social experiment, and then they've been sued so many times for their formula that you feed your babies. And then it tells you about all the cases that they had. They changed one ingredient, so they obviously didn't give a shit, and then they put in another food formula just so they could sell it. So at the end of all this jargon, me having a chat, like, I just want people to look a bit more into what they're buying, why they're purchasing it, and how we can really stop being taken advantage of. Sourdough bread, go to your baker, go and buy really good quality. And if it's, if you buy it in the supermarket for £3 and then you buy it in the bakery for €4.50, €5, £5, have less of it. It's definitely worth it. And then put some honey on for some extra carbohydrates. But then also look at the profiles of these food to understand that they will have a little a part to play within your health. So yeah, fuck you to the corporate companies that are making a shit ton of money by taking the piss out of people. And yeah, if you got any cool stories for me, please do let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, have a wonderful day and thank you so much for getting to the end of this video.